Hey guys, Miller Million here. My name is Justin Miller though. Guys, today I want you guys to determine if I'm schizophrenic or not. I was diagnosed in 2009 at 18 years old in January, and basically before that, I graduated high school, but right before I graduated, my best friend got murdered. We used to hang out all the time, and he got murdered by our boss at our resort that we were at. Well, it was a ski resort, but we did snow tubing part of it. um and he murdered my best friend. So my best friend got stabbed 150 times by this guy, wrapped up in a tarp, set on fire. So pretty crazy. But yeah, he had like a malpractice lawsuit. My friend, he denied $10 million at the first settlement, so he was going to take him to court, and got murdered right after he denied it. So I don't know what happened there, but yeah. um so 2009 rolls around. I got fired from my job because I failed a piss test for weed, and I was in bad shape. So um I was making music and just chilling, and I freaking that this one day rolls around, January 5th, and I was up all night. I went to my mom's house because I was freaking out a little bit, and I was up all night just laying there in bed, like stroking my fingers and stuff. It was all weird. I don't know what was happening, and I guess I was literally getting into that psychosis mode though that day, and it happened pretty fast. So um I ended up drinking like a fifth of vodka, this much of it in 5 minutes. And I went upstairs. I was hearing dogs barking, like millions of them, birds chirping, millions of them, cars flying by my house every second, honking their horns. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, ugh, felt like shit. And I looked at myself, and I was like beat red. I was like, I'm the fucking devil. And I freaking went to the sink and tried to drown myself on my breath as long as I could. Took a breath in, and I automatically like came out, hit my head on the back of the faucet, and I ended up blacking out. I don't remember what happened after that. I do remember my dad getting home and being like, "What's all this shit down here?" Which I left the vodka out, and he's like, "I was like, it's for you, man." But he's like, "God, no, damn." No. He's like, "No, it's not. That's not for me." And he said, "What the hell were you doing?" I don't know. And yeah, it was messed up. It was all jacked up. And he ended up calling the cops, and the ambulance came and got me. Ended up in the psych ward a day later after I was in the hospital. Up all night again. I was up the whole day. Like a whole 2 days, and I wasn't like doing anything wrong. But yeah. So that was the initial episode. And then after that, the second episode rolls around. That was June 9th. January 5th, 2009. Now the next episode happens in 2010, October 27th. My friend comes over to my house. I was living with my mom at the time. She was about to her lease for the apartment was about to end. She found some guy about like 8 months earlier and was always at his house, and was about to move in with him. So, and he lived like an hour and a half away. So, I was living there, and my friend was over for the night. We played Halo Reach all night until like 2 a.m. and then he went home, and like 4 o'clock rolls around, and I'm still up. I'm making music. I'm writing stuff down in this notebook, and 10 o'clock comes around. I'm still up. I was about to go to bed. I started like getting ready to lay down on the couch to go to sleep. My mom calls me. She's like, "Hey, you need to make sure you're packing stuff up today so it's ready to go for tomorrow." I mean, ready to go get out of the house then. And I was like, you need to find out what you're going to do with yourself, because you don't have a job, you can't pay the rent, so you have to get out of there. And I was like, whatever. I was like, I don't know, I can't stand it. And then she's like, I love you. And I was like, I don't know if you really do. So I hung up the phone. 15 minutes later, I hear this pounding on the door. And I go and open the door. There's 3 cops, and then right behind them is 3 paramedics. And I'm like, what do you guys want? And they're like, your mom called us for a welfare check. And I was like, whatever, come on in. And they came in, no guns, no drugs, no nothing. I was about to go to bed. I was literally laying down when they knocked. I just laid down when they knocked. And they came in, they looked around, and they're like, the one cop's like, she's a woman. She's like, she got fired from her job eventually, but she's like, can you fill the fish tank up with water? And it was still filtering the water, and it was like probably only down like that much, and it was like a big tank, so it was like down like this much, and here's the whole tank, and there's like this much water, and it's still filtering from the filter system. And I was like, it's still filtering. Also, like, the bucket that I had to use in the house was catching AC water from our AC in the window, so I didn't want to take that bucket with all that like weird chemical water and putting it in the fish tank and killing them all. I was like, I can't be doing that. I was like, first off, we're moving in 3 days. It's gonna be out of there. They're gonna be in a different tank. And it's still getting filtered and everything. She's like, well, Justin, you failed my test. You're either gonna come with us to the police station or go with the paramedics and an ambulance to the ER. And I was like, I don't want to go ride an ambulance and pay a medical bill, and I don't want to go to jail. And they're like, well, it doesn't matter, your dad and your stepmom are already on their way here. So I was like, okay, whatever. And I go there, I'm there, I'm up, like, I was up all night, I didn't get any sleep, lose my mind. People wanted to fight me and stuff because I was like, I don't know, they didn't like me. So I got sent to the psych ward again. This time it was a hospital. And I have stories about the psych wards. I'll save them for another time. If this video gets 10 likes, I will make the psych ward videos. Crazy stuff happened in the last 2 psych ward visits I had, and this is the first one that I had. The crazy stuff happened. Obamacare was in full effect, let's just say that. But yeah, it was insane. So I left there. I ended up in a halfway house for drug addicts, which I'm not even a drug addict. So I was like, whatever. I had to lie, like me taking drugs, and they were gonna keep me for 18 months. But they basically were like feeding me. They were putting roaches in my food and handing me my plate while other people got to make their own plates. And they were making me clean the showers and the bathrooms, and they were just treating me like shit, like talking shit. I knew a little bit of Spanish, and I could hear the stuff that they were saying at times. And you know, I was just feared for my life. They moved me to another one that didn't have a white guy in it. So I was like, they're like the only white guy there. It was ridiculous, man. And then like 7 days go by, my mom finally comes and visits me, and I'm like, Mom, I can't be doing this anymore. She's like, well, what are you gonna do? I was like, you said something. I was like, you told me something about a homeless shelter. I was like, just take me there. She's like, okay, whatever. So I got all my stuff together and got out of there. And I was at the homeless shelter for like 3 weeks. Then my grandma took me in. And then about a year later, a year later, 2011, on July like 7th or something, I got taken in to the psych ward again because I was at my friend's house, and I got these text messages about bad things happening to my girlfriend, that this guy was like raping her and stuff, and he was texting me, and I was like, what the fuck, who is this? I could like trying to figure out who it was calling them. They weren't answering. I was flipping out. My friend's like, here man, give me the phone, I know a way to find out who it is. I was like, alright man, and I handed him the phone, he calls my mom and says that I'm not acting right, that I need to get help. And I was like, what? He's like, dude, your mom's on the way. I was like, why? He's like, cause man, you're not acting right. I was like, dude, I'm just wondering who the hell this is. He's like, no, man. I was like, whatever. I had some weed. It was like the best weed that I've ever had. And he's like, here, man, let me hide your weed for you. I was like, okay, whatever. And my mom showed up like 3 hours later, and I got taken to the psych ward. Never saw that weed again. So I think it was his big scheme to get that weed. So it was what it was. So yeah, got to the psych ward. Crazy stuff happened there too. I could tell you about it, but another video, 10 likes. See you there. But yeah. So basically, like, the first time I got taken in, I was really drunk. The second time I got taken in, I didn't tell my mom I love her, and I failed a police test about not putting water in a fish tank. And the last time I got taken in, my friend wanted to steal my weed. So there you go. Am I schizophrenic? I've been in Vegas since that last psych ward visit, 2011. Been good. I haven't relapsed. I haven't been in the psych ward again. I have moments where my brain like doesn't fire right. I get like super depressed. I don't know. I just get really down. I can't like function sometimes because my brain doesn't fire right and I can't communicate well. I'm socially withdrawn. I don't like to like be the center of attention usually. It's pretty terrible times. I got like a flat effect, but I don't know if that's all just stuff from the medicine or negative effects of schizophrenia. I'm not sure, but yeah, just wondering what you guys think. I'll tell you some more stuff about my symptoms. While I was in Vega, I hear voices probably like 2 to 3 times a week, and it was like on a day I would hear like maybe 2 or 3 sentences at a time, and that would be it. And then it'd go on and it'd be another day, and it'd go on for a while. So yeah, I don't know, like I don't really hear voices. It's like a couple of sentences. Like I got some examples on my phone from recently. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you about what happened to my in Vega then. These are some of the things that I've been hearing back in early October. It's October 23rd now, 2017. October 2nd, I heard voices that said, "Get up, you little devil, good dude, get out of here." That's the first time he did it. So I heard 4 sentences. October 3rd came around. Stupefy, fire away, do it. Money, don't touch that. These are the voices that are like I'm hearing. And then October 4th comes around, social media, but the thing is, thank you for noticing. And I mean, this is like throughout the whole day, like it just happened. Like that sentence happened, then that sentence happened, then that sentence happened. Then October 5th, it's excellent, it's absolutely amazing. And I mean, like my voices are never really mean, and they're usually pretty chill and nice. Like whenever I was working, they were uplifting. But yeah, it's been crazy. So yeah, I do hear voices from time to time, but like I said, they're not mean, they're not constant, they're very sporadic and very short. So I don't know. I kind of still have delusional thinking. I think of like numbers, and I have a letter number theory, and just hearing numbers and stuff like that, I kind of try to put things together and do mathematical things. Not good, but it's kind of crazy. So that happens too. Yeah, you guys be the judge. I don't know if it's all medicine induced, because I've been on the medicine for so long, or if I literally have this disease. I don't know. I just felt like it was unfair every time I got sent to the psych ward, and I've just been obeying the whole idea of being treated and following the rules. Recently, 4 days ago, 3 months 3 months ago, I got a shot of Invega Trenza, which is the 3-month injection. And the first 2 months of that, I was super drowsy and I gained like 10 pounds. And then the last month, I was okay and I kind of lost the weight. And I went back and I told my psychiatrist that when I was supposed to get the next shot. And she's like, well, I got 3 options for you. She's like, we can lower the dosage of Trenza. We can put you on a different depression pill, which I don't know what that would have done. And then she said, we can try a different antipsychotic. I was like, weighing my options, and she's like, well, let's put it this way. Have you tried Abilify? And I was like, yeah, I took it for 2 months, like the second time I got to the psych ward, but I quit taking my medicine then. And she's like, well, here's the thing. It doesn't make you drowsy. It doesn't make you gain weight. She's like, it has very little side effects. She's like, I think you'd do pretty good on that. I was like, okay, let's do it. But I didn't take the shot that day. So right now I'm like withdrawn from Invega from taking it for 6 years. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. I'm kind of aggressive. I'm losing my mind. But yeah, I don't know. Guys, 10 likes. I'll talk about what's like word visits, what happened in there. I'm going to keep making videos about this topic. It's kind of crazy. And I'm a video game streamer. I do that from time to time, usually daily, but at least like 4 or 5 times a week. So come on in, check it out. Miller Million at Twitch, or Miller Million on Mixer, or YouTube. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere. You can check me out. So, guys, thanks for watching. I'll be here. You'll be there. See you guys later.